Welcome to another installment of Honest and Uneducated, the show where we talk about anything from movies, movie news, comic books, video games, TV shows, you name it, just all sorts of fun stuff like that. One thing off the top, guys, you can submit questions and topics for the show just by emailing us at honestanduneducated@gmail.com. That's honestanduneducated@gmail.com. Do not hesitate to send us any sort of weird, maybe some things that would be off topic, some, random questions, because we do have another segment called 21 Questions that we like to do where we gather, some more obscure questions or anything like that that we get that wouldn't necessarily fit into the show. We like to grab those and put them into, its own standalone video. We call it 21 Questions. So don't hesitate to send us, some more obscure things like that. But let's get into some of our main topics here. But first, without any further ado, joining me today is none other than Rick Metz. How you doing today, Rick?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Well, I'm pretty good. There's, I just got back from, whoops, no, wrong one there. Just got back from a trip, my Gatlinburg trip.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So that was pretty good.
Just stay safe.
Always stay safe, dude. Yeah. Always stay safe. But yeah, no, I didn't. That's probably one thing I will say that kind of bummed me out about going. We had this thing booked like far before the pandemic. We got a cabin up in the mountains, right? So we didn't just up and decide, let's go throw ourselves in a cesspool of fucking random people we don't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm not an idiot. No offense to anybody who does do that, but you're an idiot. But yeah, so we had this thing booked way in advance. So we went there and it was a cabin up in the woods there. And the only thing I'll say, I mean, it was great, Gatlinburg's great and everything, but it was hot as hell. Like, it was super hot, and I never think about Gatlinburg being hot.
You wouldn't expect that, but
yeah. No, because it's up in the mountains. You always think it's like cold up in the mountains.
Higher altitude, yeah.
Maybe, it might have just been the fact that the times I did go, maybe I didn't go in July.
Yeah.
That might be it. Like, I don't really remember.
I mean, it is south, you think about it, but you are still at a higher altitude. Yeah, I don't know the science. Right.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So, I mean, yeah. You're further south, so it's going to get hot, but, I don't know. I never think of Gatlinburg and think of the heat like I do when I think of Florida.
Yeah.
Like, I hate going to Florida just because it's so damn hot.
I hate heat.
I hate
heat. Sweating.
Like, that's why I never understand people who prefer being like, I
understand
hot. People who prefer summertime over wintertime, dude.
Oh, no, yeah.
I mean, the biggest, despite the temperature, okay? The best thing about winter?
You put a coat on?
No. I said despite the weather.
Oh, okay.
The best thing about winter is there's no goddamn bugs, dude.
There's
no bugs.
Spiders.
Yeah, all that. Yeah. None of that shit bothers you.
Yeah.
The wintertime is great. And especially here in Ohio, I mean, last year, we didn't even have that frigid of a winter.
No.
Like, I thought it was, like, very mild.
Yeah, it barely snowed.
Like, I'm telling you, dude, I've been theory crafting some conspiracy shit, okay? I got a tinfoil hat on underneath
Lay it
this.
on me.
I think probably within the next 100 years, California, or like that kind of like place, not necessarily California. I'm no weather expert.
Like
let me say off the fucking top here. I'm not a meteorologist or anything, but I think with the way the climate change has been going, I think places like a more lush place like California, for instance, and like now we're in like Ohio where we actually have, 4 seasons.
Yeah.
A lot of places like California, it's just hot all the time.
Just summer all the time. Yeah.
I think that's gonna shift. Like, I think it's really gonna fuck up a lot of like our agriculture.
I think honestly, places are gonna become like uninhabitable. Like in Arizona, it's already what, like 120.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it. Yeah, like, Nevada and stuff.
Yeah,
like desert.
It's unbearable. Right.
That's I was thinking the same thing. Dude, it's funny you say that. Just the desert stuff before, because I was literally thinking about like the Middle East and like
how hot it is there.
Yeah, how hot it is. But like, I was talking to my wife or something about it. And I forget what the context was, but like, why did they decide to settle there in the desert? Who goes out to the desert and it's just like,
that's the cradle of civilization, man. That's like where everything started.
Yeah, but like, there's other places you could have like started. It's like they went out there and they saw there was oil, so they may as well just put their house there. I mean, because like, why else?
You just don't think back in the day. They're like, man, it's hot here. We should move.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because you would think the same kind of concept applies to like very cold places too. Like,
they didn't have AC back then.
No, exactly. So it doesn't make sense. It's like why anybody would like want to just set up their shop in the middle of a desert.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy to me. Anyway, guys, it's a little bit off topic. So let's get into our first main topic here today, Rick. And our first topic is going to be the New Mutants. And at the Comic-Con at Home virtual event, the New Mutants released not only a new trailer, but they also released the first opening scene of the movie. And now, Rick, I don't know about you, but I thought this looked pretty great.
Oh, I thought it looked awesome.
Like, I thought I think it was the best look at this movie that we've gotten.
That first scene was really good. Very intense.
It was tense.
Very tense.
It was very tense. And I thought it was shot pretty good. I mean, it was kind of like predictable when the dad, like, he's like, "Stay here.
Exactly.
I got to go help." And you're just like, "Well, I know that guy's dead."
Yeah,
like,
he's gone.
He's fucking dead. But so, I mean, a little bit predictable, but it obviously sets up, the tragic past of our character. So whatever. And I'm assuming, I don't know if they showed it, but I'm assuming the demon bear destroyed her town. I don't know.
Yeah, it was something.
I mean, there was a lot of shit going down. It was pretty hectic. You'd almost think it was just like a tornado.
Yeah,
but
that's what I thought, like, originally. But
right,
yeah.
But I mean, I think too. Well, let me backtrack 2 seconds. The one thing that we did learn out of this, which a lot of people were kind of surprised about, was that they're going to be sticking to their August 28th release date. So, like,
will they?
I know. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
that's what they say. Both they say fingers crossed they're going to be coming out on the 28th, and they say they are going to be coming out on the 28th. Despite movies though like Tenet and Mulan, where they've just come out and outright said, like, we're indefinitely delayed right now. They started with, Warner Brothers with Tenet, for instance. They really wanted to stick to that, I think, July 17th release date, and like that obviously wasn't going to happen, so they pushed it back like 2 weeks or whatever. But then they realized that wasn't going to happen, so then their next move, instead of just playing phone tag with release dates, essentially, they just said, we're delayed indefinitely. Mulan followed suit with that because they've been pretty much sharing the weekend release. Different audiences, so they're both going to do fine. But despite those movies being just delayed indefinitely, Disney with New Mutants is deciding to just stick to that release date. And I have a bit of a theory, and I think I want to hear your thoughts on it, Rick, as to why they might be doing that. The kind of benefits I think that Disney will have by sticking to that August 28th release date. Now, follow me here for a minute. Assume that there's 5,000 theaters, like total pre-pandemic worldwide. There's 5,000 theaters. Let's say, come the 28th, only 1,000 of them are open. New Mutants is going to be the only game in town.
Literally, like, it's going to be like the only movie.
The only game in town is going to be New Mutants. So a movie that Disney has essentially had to shell out, finance charges for the past 3 years. Essentially, this movie is supposed to come out back in 2018, so they would have gone into production on this movie in 2016, 2017. They probably would have started borrowing money to get this movie made. Right? What a lot of people don't understand is the studios don't just have $150 million just that they can just pull out of their pocket and say, go make a movie, man. Like, they don't, that's not how it works. They have to borrow the money from banks just like anybody else, but when you're trying to get, $200 million together to, finance something. So they've essentially been accruing. I mean, I don't know what the exact, financial statistics and interest charges on this, loan they would have had would be, but like this would have been these charges they've been paying for this movie essentially for the past 3 years. And they've shown zero return on this movie.
Yeah.
So, and despite like a lot of people, like this article here on Deadline even is saying like it's not heading to Disney Plus. It's like, well, it can't go to Disney Plus, not just because they need to make money. It's because the studios are in a release contract with NATO, which is like the North American Theater Owners Association or whatever. Not the other NATO, not the NATO you're thinking of, not the like military related NATO.
Gonna say like what?
Not that one. It's North American Theater Owners. It's just like, imagine a union for the theater owners and the theater companies is pretty much what it is. But they have contracts with them. Just when their movies come out, they have to be released in theater because it's a mutually beneficial system with the studios and the theaters. They both make money. I mean, that's just the most simplest terms I can put it in. If the movies don't go to theaters, then obviously the theaters ain't gonna make no money. And if the movies don't go to theaters, then the studios ain't gonna make no money, because I don't remember any movie that's came out on VOD that's ever made $1 billion. And that's what people ever seem to, think about, is like, well, why don't we just release everything on streaming? Endgame doesn't make, 2.5 billion or $3 billion, whatever the hell they ended with. You put that on streaming, they ain't gonna get $3 billion out of that movie.
No.
It's never gonna happen, like, at all. But so the Disney essentially, though, has been paying for this thing for 3 years now, whatever. So my theory, though, like I said, is not only are they going to be the only game in town if 1,000 of 5,000 theaters are open, but dude, they just need to get this thing out.
Oh yeah,
like they've been having to shell out like the money for this thing for 3 years. So whether or not it's fully paid off or whatever, like I don't know any of that sort of stuff, but despite that, their loans to get the movie made being paid off or not, like they have shown zero return on this thing. So like they 150, $200 million, whatever it may be, like they need to get some money back from this, and it's just something that they're never gonna get back if they just dump it on Disney Plus, because there's no way that even if they were to put it on VOD, so you have to pay for it first before dropping it on Disney Plus, like they're not going to make any money from it. Like they'll maybe make $100 million. Maybe. That's like wishful thinking.
Sure.
So like, I don't know. And then dropping a movie like New Mutants isn't going to make, more people subscribe to Disney Plus. Like, it's just not how it works. Like, not with a movie like that. Like, people signed up for Disney Plus initially because of The Mandalorian. That's why most people signed up for Disney Plus, I'd probably be confident to say.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, obviously the library for Disney Plus for, like, more family-oriented content, people just, thinking about that. Yeah. But their big draw was The Mandalorian, which has kind of been their problem over the past, I don't know, year. It's almost been a year. I don't remember when Disney Plus came out, but when that's all they've had was The Mandalorian. Like, they've had some other smaller shows, but, like, I feel like they should have released with one of the Marvel shows, like, a couple months, like right after Mandalorian ended, they should have been like, hold on to your horses, because we got another one in 1 month. The Falcon and Winter Soldier series comes out, but everyone's just been kind of sitting on their thumbs, Yeah. There's just been nothing to do there besides rewatch Mandalorian. You can only do that so many times.
Pretty good, but yeah.
I mean, it's good, but I mean, honestly, I only watched it once. I never even went back to watch it again myself.
I watched a couple episodes, again, but
yeah, I didn't. Like, I don't know. I just didn't feel the need to. I feel like they were so short. Like, which was another thing I was kind of bummed about with that.
Yeah, you think like hour episodes?
I was hoping for hour long. But I mean, that's irrelevant. I just think I'm excited for this New Mutants thing, though, and I was never excited about it. I was gonna watch it. I was obviously always gonna watch it because, like, I like Marvel. I like.
It's what you into.
Yeah, I like X-Men. I like that shit. Like, I'm gonna watch it no matter what. But I never really cared. I never really had any plans to go watch it in theaters. Like, I never really did. But after seeing this trailer, I hope it does come out on August 28th now, because I'm assuming it's safe, and there's no health first kind of thing. But I would like to go actually.
It's coming up soon. I mean, it's like
it is
literally like a month from now.
Yeah, almost a month to the day. So, which that kind of doesn't have me very confident, and we're not going to be able to turn up the current climate out there. We're not going to be able to turn that shit around in a month. If we could, that would have happened 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's wishful thinking, but I mean, the sooner this movie comes out there, the better, because they can't afford to push this thing back to like 2021, like, because that was the other thing, like with Tenet and Mulan, like they were trying to get it out, so they were just pushing it back like little by little, and they just decided, just recently within the past like couple weeks or month or whatever it was, that they're just going to indefinitely delay it now because they don't want to keep playing, phone tag or whatever. They don't want to schedule this stuff and just keep pushing it back. So it's better just to wait till they have a, more clean cut idea of when this thing is going to come out, and then they'll slate a release date for it.
What a shitty situation for movies in general.
Dude, it's terrible. We essentially Hollywood has essentially lost an entire year.
Yeah.
Because Dude, like A Quiet Place 2, that just got pushed back. I think they just pushed that back to 2021. As soon as the pandemic hit, Universal pushed back Fast 9 till 2021. They didn't even mess around with
We ain't messing around.
they just pushed straight back to 2021. Like Black Widow was supposed to come out in like April or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like Eternals was supposed to come out in like November, December this like none of these movies are coming out.
No.
Like, and that's the thing, like I was saying, like they need these movies to go to theaters to make the money back that they paid to make these movies. So like they've essentially every studio has spent hundreds of millions of dollars making all these movies in the past couple of years to come out this year, and they can't.
Yeah.
So like I can't even imagine having the opportunity to have like $100 million. But I can't imagine having $100 million and then spending that $100 million expecting some sort of return. And, you know, it's been in New Mutants case for like 3 years now.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine, like, sure, I'll give you $100 million. Hold on, guys. I'm not going to be able to pay you back, though, until probably 2021.
Yeah,
all right. It's going to be about 3-4 years before I can pay you back. Like, I don't think a lot of people would sign up for that.
No.
So it's just, they
wouldn't.
It's crazy, dude. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this movie. And the only other thing I got to say is the fact that they are sticking to, because we kind of touched on this before in some capacity, like, they have a contract to release this movie in theaters, right? With like the Theater Owners Association and whatnot. And the fact that they haven't gone and sort of, I mean, despite the fact that, like I said, they need to make money on this thing, Disney could have went and just, you know, paid off the theaters just to get this thing out so they don't have to worry about it anymore, right?
Yeah.
Because like it was supposed to come out in 2018. You know, it's been already just from release pushed back 2 years. They've probably been paying on it for 3 or 4 at this point, depending on when they went in production and blah, blah, blah. So the fact that they have actually been trying to get this thing into theaters makes me believe and at least hope that it's not dog shit.
Yeah.
And like, because if it was a dog shit movie,
that would be really bad.
Well, like if it was bad, like I don't think Disney would spend as much like effort and put as much time into like trying to get this thing in other than greed. Like, yeah, because they need to make money. We've established that.
They obviously believe in the movie a little bit.
They'd have to. Yeah, they would have to, because they wouldn't go through all this extra effort, because it costs them money to cut these trailers. It costs them money to do the Comic-Con at home virtual event, to get the people to do the panel and do all, like, it costs them money. I mean, all that is marketing, and people always forget about the marketing cost of these movies. And like, I don't think like since like I said, they haven't had any fucking return on this movie in 3 years, they're still pumping money into it to some capacity, whether it's just a couple million here or there for marketing. Like, they're still choosing to pay to market this movie, to get it in theaters, rather than just cutting a deal with the theater owners to say, hey, we need to just get this on streaming. Like, I want to cut our ties with this. We don't think it's good, and we don't think it's going to make money, so we're just going to put it on, Disney Plus or whatever, and then pay them off, The fact that they haven't done that makes me hope that the movie can be, remotely as good as I thought that trailer was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We can only hope. I mean, it's just a
know.
shitty situation in general.
It is. Because, I mean, you thought the trailer was great too, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. And that's why I bring that up too, is because trailers can be very deceiving. The job of a trailer is to make you excited about the movie. It's trying to sell you the idea of the movie. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's marketing, right? And I've been scorned by good trailers over and over and over again, namely with the Transformers franchise. All those trailers rather are awesome. Like, you can go and watch the Transformers trailers and like they're great. You go and watch the movies and you kind of want to die. Because especially if you're a Transformers fan, they're just garbage movies. Like, no offense to anybody who likes them. Everyone has their own thing, but like,
no, they're bad.
They suck. Every movie other than the first Transformers movie sucks. And Bumblebee. Bumblebee was actually good. But any other of the Michael Bay movies post Transformers 1,
awful.
Terrible movies. They look great.
Yeah, the visuals are great.
It's style over substance with those movies, man. Like 100%. It's like and quantity or quality over quantity, right? They don't adhere to that. They just say more explosions,
Yeah,
like more explosions,
fights,
and more stupid, crappy dialogue.
Megan Fox,
yeah, sex jokes and dick jokes, and like that's the Transformers, right? That's what you remember from a kid. Like, no, that's not what the Transformers are, man. Like, but anyways, guys, sounds like we both think this movie looks pretty good after the trailer. So I guess the question here is, what do you guys think? Are you guys looking forward to the New Mutants? Maybe fingers crossed coming out on August 28th. If it does, are you gonna maybe even go to the theater or not? Because I mean, I know in a lot of places it's probably not the best idea. Some places probably better than others. I don't know. Just let us know down in the comment section below, and just let us hear your thoughts. Let us hear your thoughts. All right, so our next main topic today is going to be about the DC Universe streaming service, and more specifically, how it seems like we're coming to an end of the DC streaming service. And let me explain here. A lot of key factors really go into this, to where there's been a lot of talk online that pretty much ever since HBO Max was announced, a lot of people were wondering, well, what's going to happen with the DC streaming service then? Because, Warner owns HBO. HBO is going to have, Warner owns DC. And what's kind of the point of having, two different places with DC content? The only kind of the question mark around any of that was the fact that the DC streaming app does let you, like, look at comics, like, digitally and everything. So that was kind of the only caveat to it, is that HBO isn't necessarily, it doesn't seem like something that would be, typically integrated into like HBO's platform. But at the same time, it's a kind of a catch that, HBO Max having would be a nice marketing and advertising for them, much like they were marketing the fact that they have all the DC content. They were using that in the HBO Max marketing right before they were launching the service and everything. So them just kind of absorbing the DC Universe app and just making it a part of HBO Max, it just kind of made sense. And with HBO Max existing, it didn't really make sense to keep the DC Universe app as its own service. And the reason I bring this up is because I feel like the final nail in the coffin has come out, that at least suggests the fact that the DC Universe's days are in fact numbered. And that is because of this, Rick. If you go to the DC Universe streaming website, there used to be an option for you to actually be able to pay for an annual subscription or a monthly subscription. At this point in time, the annual subscription is no longer an option. You can only subscribe monthly.
Makes you wonder why.
Exactly. And probably because they don't know if they're going to be here in a year, so they don't want you to pay for a year. That would be the most educated guess I could give. On top of that, I don't have this graphic, but there was, right before HBO Max came out, or around the time shortly after it came out, there was an exclusive offer for DC Universe members to add on the HBO Max subscription exclusively for DC Universe, like current subscribers. When they ran this promotion, you could add on the HBO Max service for like an extra $5.99 a month. So that's just kind of another thing that goes into the fact that, why would they be offering like that? And then, like, it made sense for them to offer just because they own like both, right? Like, it's like Hulu did the same thing with Disney Plus and ESPN Plus, right, or whatever. Like, you could buy all three, you could buy two, whatever it is. It makes sense. But the fact that they ran that promotion, then removed the annual subscription option from the DC Universe streaming service altogether, added on to the fact that, which I think is probably, like, in all reality, the most telling factor, is that pretty much all of the DC Universe streaming service exclusive shows are no longer exclusive to DC Universe. You got the Stargirl show that is going to be moving to CW. You have the Harley Quinn show that is moving to HBO Max and has already been airing on Sci-Fi, I believe. Then you have Doom Patrol season 2 came out on HBO Max, and that was probably speaking of Doom Patrol season 2 being on HBO Max. That was probably everybody's first indication that the DC streaming service was like dead in the water,
Yeah.
because when news came out essentially that Doom Patrol got renewed for a season 2, the news with it was the fact that season 2 was going to be airing on HBO Max.
Yeah.
So, and that was prior to HBO Max launching yet. So that was just Doom Patrol came out, they renewed it for season 2, but that news in general was that it was not only being renewed for season 2, it's being renewed and being put on HBO Max. So I feel like that was probably our first kind of indication that this
Seems
is
like everything's
probably
leaving. Like,
yeah, because that's the whole point of a streaming service, right? There's no reason to subscribe to Netflix, we'll say, if you can watch all of that stuff somewhere else. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like the whole point of your product is to have those things that you're the only place that has it. That's the whole
Exactly.
point.
That's
You know,
the whole streaming service idea.
You corner the market. It's the idea with like any sort of project, trademarks in general. That's why they exist. You want an Xbox, play an Xbox game. You know, that's why they're exclusives, right? You got to get the Xbox to play Gears of War. This is what it is. Like, that's how it works. If Gears of War is available on Nintendo Switch and PS4 and PC, you're cutting into the market of, you know, you can't, Xbox can no longer corner that market. You know, it's just something they lose. There's no incentive, right? Like, I have no incentive at this point to get the DC Universe app unless it's to read the comics.
Yeah.
Which is like, again, that's a great thing and they should keep that. But I don't know. Like, I just feel like with this, the writing's kind of on the wall, and I think they're probably going to be either just closing the service down altogether, at least as far as I don't know if they're going to keep. What do you think they're going to do here? Do you think they'll just rope the whole thing into? Because these are the options I think they could do anyway. Is just rope it into HBO Max like a subcategory, right? Just because now if you go to HBO Max, like there's a category for DC, you click on it, maybe it just reroutes you to the DC Universe app. And that's where they keep everything there, right? And it's just, they just build it in, and it's just the same thing. All the content that was on DC Universe, including the comics and everything, you click on DC and HBO Max, and boom, there it is.
Yeah.
Or all the, you know, streaming content, the, you know, the movies, the DC TV shows, all of that stuff, pull that into HBO Max, then keep the DC Universe streaming service alive just for the comics. So it's just rope it into DC's, you know, a digital comics service.
Yeah.
You know?
Instead of it being like an actual streaming service.
Yeah, instead of it being like, you know, a one-stop shop for DC movies, TV, comics, and everything, just make it their new digital store for comics.
Yeah.
And you could still subscribe to it, maybe even for cheaper, you know, because it's just the comics as opposed to having actual content and everything. Because at this point, the only show that hasn't announced it's being moved to a new service is Titan. Like, Titan season 3 is still, at this point in time, still slated to be released on this app. But
sounds like it's just a bit of a mess all around.
I mean, it is. They, like, I don't know. I feel like with HBO Max too, it's just kind of this is another, because we talked about it before how they kind of botched the whole launch, and like like you can even see on the DC site here, it's available on Fire TV, it's available on Roku. HBO Max isn't. Like, you can't get HBO Max on Fire TV or Roku, which are the two most popular you know, streaming devices, you know, in people's homes right now. So, like, I feel like them kind of mismanaging this whole, I don't know if you can really call it mismanagement, but it's like I feel like it is a bit of mismanagement, because had they just had the foresight to kind of, like, they could have leaned on like this DC streaming service. HBO Max could have leaned on it for their marketing. They could have been like, for one, they could have just given everybody who had a subscription to DC Universe just instantly say, you now have an HBO Max subscription, and everything that it was on DC Universe is going to be on HBO Max. Done. You know what I mean? Then advertise to the new people, when you subscribe to HBO Max, you're going to get everything that's on the DC Universe app because it's being absorbed into HBO Max. Like, bam. So I feel like it was a little bit of mismanagement on their part for the sheer fact that they could have just like exploited the shit out of this thing existing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because they even say down here, I just saw this. Currently $7.99 for that monthly subscription. They have the fine print of the annual subscription down here.
But there's no option.
But there's no option.
Yeah.
So
weird.
But yeah, so that's what it used to be. It used to be $75 a year or $8 a month. I don't know, man. It would be kind of a shame, I feel like, for anybody who did like the DC streaming service, but at the same time, I mean, no one's really losing anything as long as everything is just being moved somewhere else. The only thing I don't like though is the way they've been. Like I said, the Stargirl show is on CW. The Swamp Thing show is on CW. The Harley Quinn show is on HBO Max. The Doom Patrol is on HBO Max. I assume Titans is probably going to go to HBO Max because it had a little more R-rated material in there. So, like, I just don't like the fact that they're now, like, kind of dividing where their shit is.
Yeah.
Like, that is what I don't really like.
Choose one.
Yeah, like, just make it all available on HBO Max. I feel like that's... Yeah. Again, I think they just mismanaged kind of how that's going.
I think that's the issue with DC, kind of. So, if you've got to go to all these different places to stream different shows that you like, I mean...
Well, that's the thing. It'd be different if, like, that's how the shows, like, existed to begin with. You know what I mean? If Stargirl came out, and if the DC Universe app existed from the beginning, they were saying... Like, because a lot, like, think about it, like, kind of, I like how HBO, not HBO, but how Hulu works as far as the new shows, because, like, Hulu will have licensing deals with, like, current on-air television programming, so they'll get to watch, let's just say, like, This Is Us or something on ABC or NBC, whatever it is. You'll be able to watch it on Hulu the day after it airs on, the ABC or network, whatever channel it's on, you can watch it the next day on Hulu. If from the start, the DC app was kind of the same way, but opposite, to where you can watch everything first on the DC service, and then it goes to, CW afterward, then I guess that would have made sense if they would have kind of built the foundations to be a exclusive thing for getting the content first on DC Universe, as opposed to, like, well, now it's just we don't know what the fuck to do with any of our shows because HBO Max has taken everything, and like, but HBO Max doesn't want CW or, like, Stargirl, because it's not really the kind of HBO kind of show. So, like, this is what it kind of seems like anyway. And I just feel like it's just kind of mismanaged on that degree. But I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal as long as nobody loses anything again. Like, I think that's the main thing, because it is kind of shitty though, because HBO Max is like twice the price. So if you're used to only paying $8 a month and you only wanted the DC stuff, now you don't have that option, which again, mismanaged, right? Like, I feel like if HBO Max wanted to just absorb the content, then I feel like they should have just done that. And just, I don't really see the harm of keeping the DC Universe app or service exactly how it is, but then just include that shit on HBO Max. Just like, because then it's like people who don't want the HBO Max stuff don't have to buy it, and just make kind of like an upgrade feature. Like, you for $8 a month for DC, and you get all the DC stuff, but if you pay $16 a month, you get HBO Max. And it has all the DC stuff and all the HBO Max stuff, So, I mean, I feel like that would have been a better option.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Who knows? I mean, I'm just kind of splitting hairs here. It's just, I thought it was kind of interesting, the fact that everyone kind of speculated, what was the point of it being around if you're going to have HBO Max anyway? And again, we're just getting more and more indications that the DC service is just dead.
How many streaming services even exist at this point?
Like, dude, that's the other thing. And that's why it's like kind of a more surprising that HBO Max kind of botched their launch. And like, because like we're essentially entering what everybody's calling the streaming wars now.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own streaming service. Peacock just launched. And like, apparently this isn't a main topic or anything, but let's touch on it now since we're kind of talking about it. They got the numbers for Peacock's like launch, and it was like 12% of what Disney Plus's was.
Damn.
So it was a very small launch. We'll say like
that's
not
nothing big at all.
At the same time, though, like at least with Peacock, they're doing something a little different. Like they have the free version of the show or the service that gets you like to some stuff and there's ads, but then there's a paid version that gets you more stuff with ads, and then there's like another third tier that's like even more stuff and like no ads or something. But it's like, which I guess is like interesting as far as the model goes, but at the same time, I just feel like that's just kind of putting shit behind paywalls, which is like really annoying in my opinion. Because that
is annoying.
I just prefer if Peacock's most expensive one is $20, then just have a fucking $20 one and a free one with ads.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I don't want
don't have so many options.
Yeah, you're just gonna like confuse people. I feel like at that point, and it's like no one wants to read a list of like it's like having to look through the TV guide. You remember having to do that?
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, when's my show gonna be on? Okay, I can do this, and then I can do this, and then at 8 p.m. we got this.
Back when you had to actually like read it out of a book.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I feel like with having these multiple tiers that unlock some content and not other content, you got to be like, well, what are the shows I get with the free one? And let me read through them all. Then okay, now I got to look at the next step up to see if that's worth it to me.
Exactly.
Like,
if there's any advantage to that.
Yeah, and it's like that's just too convoluted, man. Like in my opinion, I haven't really looked into it because I don't really have any desire to watch anything that's on there, and I already have too many goddamn streaming services as it is.
Yeah,
like I got Hulu, I got Netflix, I got HBO Max, I got the DC service, I got just too much, man. Like that's already too much. Like I don't need it. Like and on top of just like all the stuff I can watch on YouTube. It's like y'all are throwing too much stuff at me, and you can't forget
been
Quibi.
Like my number one. I just watch all kinds of random shit on YouTube.
I do anymore. Like most of the stuff I watch is on YouTube.
Yeah,
because a lot of time, like even though like we do like a more long form show here, and we have like clips that go up and everything, it's a little more short form and everything, but a lot of times like because that's kind of the main things I'll do is I'll either like have like a long form kind of podcast kind of show or just something on YouTube. Or like a lot of times I just have so little time that just watching like a short, 10, 20, 30-minute video on YouTube about something is just far more convenient to me than, watching one 30-minute or even hour-long, part of a 10-episode series that's like a drama and I got to pay attention and it's like too much.
Speaking of that, did you ever hear that streaming service Quibi, is it called?
Yeah, Quibi,
basically,
yeah,
like with those, they're short episodes, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Like every episode's short. So
I think it was supposed to be like 5 to 10 minutes.
That's crazy, but
they're not doing any better than Peacock's doing.
No, it's basically taking one long show that's maybe an hour or two long, and then just cutting it in like 5-minute segments.
Right, and that's the thing too. Like, I feel like a lot of the problems Quibi had was the fact that like they didn't let you watch it on. It was only available on mobile devices. If I'm remembering it correctly, like they didn't even have an option for you to watch it on your TV.
Yeah,
like because it was like, oh, I don't know if they just like overlooked it, didn't want it. Like because I know their initial thing was designing it to like watch essentially bite-sized pieces of long-form content on the go.
Yeah,
that was what they were going.
That was I think the whole premise of it.
But at the same time, I don't want to watch long-form content in little bite-sized pieces.
Yeah, that kind of
Like, you know what I mean? Because it's already
the convenience factor's there, but at the same time, it's just you break it up so much.
I feel like it's more of an inconvenience.
I mean, maybe it is.
Imagine Game of Thrones, okay? An hour-long episode. There's 10 episodes, right? So you got 10 hours of content, but on Quibi you can only do 5 to 10-minute episodes at a time.
That would be ridiculous.
That's 10 times as long to get through an entire season of Game of Thrones now, because they're not just gonna drop it all for you to watch it at once. They're gonna do it week by week, so you get these 10-minute episodes.
That'd take years to put out.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I find that more inconvenient, especially if you're watching it and it ends on a cliffhanger. And it's only 10 minutes long, and now you're expected to wait a week or whatever it is
to see the next 10 minutes of footage.
Yeah, like No, dude, like I didn't want that.
I
Like,
think
at
that's going to
all.
be like their downfall.
I think that is their downfall. I think that's the.
I was going to say, I know it's not very popular.
No, and that's kind of the problem with it. Is like I feel like they had a good intention, but didn't realize like I don't know. It's just not some. It's not. It's good on paper, not in principle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's just. It really would just depend on the release schedule for everything. Because the only cool thing I thought that like they did do was how you could have your phone and you could watch it in like landscape or portrait mode.
Yeah.
So like in the like it would be like a seamless train. And I don't know. I just saw them advertising, and I don't even know how fluid that works. But
Ooh.
like you were supposed to be able to watch it while you're walking, and the aspect ratio would be perfectly fit, like in center, and it would be filmed to fit because it's not like when you watch something now. If you watch a movie on your phone in portrait mode, you get like this big of a box.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you got to flip it to landscape. The real way of watching shit.
Yeah.
That's why I always hate when people take pictures of people, or I'm watching them take pictures of like scenery or something, and they're like this.
In portrait mode.
Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
like, dude, turn this shit sideways. What's wrong with you? When did you go to a movie theater?
Well, phones
and do
nowadays
shit
too,
like
you
this?
take shit and what is it, landscape mode, and like it'll automatically put it into like the portrait style, like
Mhm.
so it's not going to upload a sideways picture.
Right.
The phone just
Exactly.
knows.
Yeah, it's just a better aspect ratio
Yeah,
for your
definitely.
pictures, man. Like just how it's supposed to be. But yeah, I don't know. Quibi, I have no
Quibi.
interest in Quibi.
Maybe.
I don't like the name Quibi.
I
Quibi's
don't
better than Peacock.
yeah, yeah.
Like anything's better than Peacock. That's not really saying much.
Like
So
we should name it Peacock.
but yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you guys think with everything we just talked about with the DC, the DC stuff, for instance, is do you agree that his days are essentially numbered at this point? Just with the shows being on HBO Max, CW, what have you? No more annual subscriptions. And also, do you think they should just absorb everything into HBO Max and just make it its own thing, like just another subset of HBO Max? Or do you think they should keep the DC Universe thing alive as its own separate thing? Just like I said, so you don't have to pay $16 a month for the HBO stuff if you don't want the HBO stuff. You know what I mean? Just let us know down in the comments section below. All right, so our next topic here today is going to be about Project Power, the new Netflix movie, superhero movie starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Jamie Foxx. And Rick, right off the top, real quick, before we get into the trailer and everything, because they did drop a trailer for it, and this kind of came out of nowhere to me. I had not heard anything about it until I saw a new Project Power trailer featuring everything I just said. That's what I read, and that was the first I heard of it. But I was actually just thinking prior to, like, honestly, I feel like it was like just before I saw this this article and then I saw the trailer, I was thinking, where has Joseph Gordon-Levitt been?
Yeah,
I
seriously.
literally was just thinking, like, man, I haven't seen, because I
He's been
think
kind of out of the spotlight.
I haven't seen him. He had his like little I know he runs that website thing where he gets like art. I forget what the hell it's called. It's like it's actually a cool thing that he does. I forget what it is, but it's like a thing that connects artists and lets like artists like
Oh
connect
yeah.
with other artists. And he had like a show about it, kind of like breaking down what it was and everything. Go look it up. I forget what it's called. But anyway, because I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I liked
Yeah.
him all the way since 10 Things I Hate About You, dude.
He can be pretty
That's
intense at
good stuff.
times.
I don't
Like The Dark Knight Rises, like
the only problem, here's the thing, the only problem I find him hard to buy in very, very intense kind of roles because he's
G.I.
kind of
Joe. What the fuck was that?
well, yeah, exactly. He's just like a little dude. Like
Saying,
he has like a really friendly looking face.
he does. He just looks like a nice guy.
Yeah, so I don't really like. It's hard for me to buy him in like super intense, serious roles. Sometimes he's a great actor.
I can't
So, like,
believe they casted him as Cobra Commander. I mean, that was like the strangest.
it was weird.
Dude,
Dude, those movies weren't GI Joe movies though.
they weren't.
They were just
I don't even think they used his real voice. Like
no, they were just I don't understand.
they were weird.
They weren't good.
Yeah, they were
Like
strange.
they weren't
I
good.
like Snake Eyes.
Yeah, Ray Park was good as Snake Eyes, but I mean that's the thing. It's just a martial artist dude in a suit.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't really
With some
pick it up. I am
katanas.
excited to see the Henry Golding though in the new Snake Eyes movie.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
I'm curious to see. I'd like to see some footage of it. You'd think I know they finished production on that, and Comic-Con just happened. I'm surprised. Granted, they may have been. I didn't do it. I didn't watch any of the Comic-Con stuff, but I haven't heard anything in the news sites about this either. You figured they would have dropped some footage about that. So I know
I think
they
it'd be
finished
pretty
filming that
badass.
months ago.
Yeah.
And I'm curious. They haven't even released a picture of the dude's suit.
I
They haven't
know.
done anything in this. They filmed an entire goddamn movie, and I don't know anything about it other than it's supposedly
They have like a
Snake Eyes
poster,
movie.
don't they?
Do what?
They have a poster, but it's not very.
I don't even think they have a poster.
If there was one, which I thought I saw one, it's very, very basic and like doesn't
It's like
show
a teaser one that just has like a sword on it or something.
like the silhouette of a guy with a sword.
Yeah,
in the
like it could be
sunset.
anything.
Like,
That's the thing. They haven't. I want to see some of that. Honestly, like now, completely off topic. Let's get to this. Let's get to this. Let's get to this Project Power film here. Okay, so I watched the trailer. Rick, you watched the trailer.
yep.
And I gotta say, I think this was a Netflix movie, right? Yeah, so it was a Netflix movie, and I'd say for it being on Netflix and being a Netflix original, for one, they've been stepping up their game with their original content, at least as far as production value and getting big
It looks
names.
fantastic, like production wise.
That's what I was gonna say. I thought the CG and everything in it like looked really good.
It did. It looked
Like-
very good.
Like, because normally because a lot of times, and how I used to be, is when a Netflix original came out, you would assume it was an Adam Sandler comedy or some piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, and that was, or both. More than
Or those
likely
kind of
both.
go along the
Yeah,
lines of the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, so like, because I mean, don't get me wrong, Adam Sandler, his OG movies, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, Waterboy, Mr. Deeds, even, and like, dude, his most underrated movie, The Wedding Singer.
The Wedding Singer was great.
That was the best Adam Sandler movie, dude. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, that was because
He was good in his prime.
he was, dude. Everything I just mentioned was fantastic.
But that was like, he's a product of the times, though. You got to think this is like the 90s, and that's what people were into.
Dude, I think his comedy died, but like he's a fantastic actor. That's what I was
He
gonna
really
say.
is.
With Wedding Singer, it was a little bit of he finally got to show a little bit of his dramatic chops.
Yeah.
And it was a comedy, you know.
But the comedy
But, like,
portion definitely.
His comedy stuff is dead. But then like you do something like Uncut Gems that just came out, like he was fucking incredible in that movie.
Yeah.
That was a great movie, but it was really just I mean, it was his performance that made that movie.
Yeah.
Like it was amazing.
Well, it's also like who he is as a person now. You know, he's matured quite a bit, I feel like.
Yeah, but he's still, people like that, just kind of like you and me. Like I might be older, but I mean,
I'm still my stupid old
I
self.
mean, I'm still into the same stupid shit, and I'm
Yeah.
sure Adam Sandler's into the same stupid shit. Like
Yeah.
this is what it is. But this Project Power movie, it looked good. The trailer was intriguing. The
Yeah.
only kind of question I had with it, well, not so much question. I don't know. I guess it is kind of a question, but the 5-minute thing, like.
There's
I
a lot
don't-
of questions about that.
Yeah, I don't really understand how that's going to work in principle. Just because I don't know about you guys, but when you take any sort of pill, it's not instant release like that. Like it has
No.
to like go through your system and
Even if it
digest a
is
little
instant
bit.
release, it at least takes a few minutes
Yeah,
for it to like.
It doesn't kick in right away. Like
Yeah.
it's just not how it works unless you plug it.
I
I don't know
I
what
don't-
you're doing with that.
don't know.
But I don't know if that's what we're gonna be doing. But hey, but like, so you get 5 minutes. It seems impractical, just because like they have that scene in the trailer where Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character obviously has taken one of them because he gets shot right in the face, like point
Yeah.
blank. Like, so, and this is out of context. 'Cause I didn't see when he took the pill and when the powers kicked in, but it just seems very impractical in the sense that like you gotta really plan that shit out.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna go breach a building or something,
It's like,
you
do
gonna
I
pop
take it
it-
like
yeah.
1 minute before?
you wait
Or-
before you bust the door down?
Yeah.
Like, because what if you get shot on approach? Like it's like,
What if you get a bunk pill?
yeah. Well, that's the thing too. The other thing that is just kind of like odd with it, not really odd with it, just like more questions, probably more plot holy issues. I guess if these were like kind of nitpicking at what this could potentially be, is like they mention in the trailer that everyone's talking about how you get all the superpowers, but no one's talking about how one hit can kill you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well then if doing this pill one time can kill you, is that every single time?
Yeah.
Like,
or is it like
you know what I
some
mean? Yeah, is it
risk
like,
or-
because do you build up a tolerance to it? Because that's another thing too. With most drugs, as you continually take them, you build up a tolerance.
Look at
so you need
Limitless.
more. Yeah. So it's like, so you get the superpowers for 5 minutes by taking it, But then what if you've taken 10 of them within, like, how often can you take them? How often can you even take them?
To me,
do you die? Do you have a chance of death every time? Like,
I think the concept is really cool. There are definitely a lot of questions and a lot of like plot hole sort of things.
I
but
feel like it could be riddled with plot holes like that.
It's a really cool concept, though. I think
Conceptually speaking, it could be good. The only thing I worry though is just that, like, because there is some cool stuff you can do with it. Like I'm saying, like, you having to decide when to take the pill, it creates a form of tension, right? Because you know, like, you're only gonna have 5 minutes from whenever you take it to, whatever. So it does make, as the characters, in the situation, it puts them in situations to where they have to, like, adhere to that. You know what I mean? There's rules and regulations to, like, what the powers can do, and, like, they have to be, it can put the characters in unique situations. You know what I mean?
my question is too. Obviously, different pills give you different powers. Is it the kind of thing where it's like, okay, I know this pill is gonna give me super strength, or I know this pill is gonna
No, they say in the trailer that you never know what your power is until you take it.
Fuck.
Which is, honestly, that's kind of cool.
It is.
I mean, it's like what they were doing in Deadpool when, like, they were trying to awaken the mutant genes in people.
Yeah.
With all, everybody, so they could weaponize them and shit.
Like they didn't
It's the
know
same
what's gonna
concept.
be.
Yeah, like they don't know what you don't know what your power is until the mutant gene kicks in.
Sure.
So, like, I like that concept. But again, I just feel like it runs the concept itself, I feel like, lends itself to being potentially ridden with a lot of plot holy elements.
Yeah.
Because, like, again, if it can kill you by taking it once, is that essentially you can die at any time you take one? And then how often can
every
you
time?
take one?
Really?
If I take 2, is it 10 minutes now?
Yeah.
Or am I twice as strong?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Or do I have 2 powers?
Two
like,
completely separate powers.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And these are the kind of things where it's like, if it could go either way, because they could explain all this stuff with good answers that aren't kind of just cop out answers, that just create more plot holes. Or they could just all does not be answered, and you're just kind of, and then they show you one thing, but then tell you another.
Yeah.
Like, well, it can kill you if you take it, but then you never see anybody die, like, from taking it. So it's like, okay,
obviously it's not killing that many people.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, obviously, Joseph Gordan-Levitt is taking them. Like,
he looks kind of crazy though. Like,
he just looks like a man on a mission. You know what I mean?
No, he had that like crazy red eye, and like he looked a little like scarred up.
Yeah,
like he's seen some stuff.
Well, I mean, I guess if you're living in a world where he's a policeman on the front lines of all these people fucking on superhero juice, you probably get pretty effed up. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like Batman. You'd think in all reality, I mean, a lot of times they show this well. Like, Batman takes off a suit, he's all scarred up and shit.
The Dark Knight explained that. I mean,
you take some hits,
Yeah.
So I mean, I in the end, I'm very curious, especially, like I said, for a Netflix thing. This actually looked pretty intriguing, especially for it coming way out of left field. I had no idea this movie was even a thing. Like, it came out of nowhere for me. Like, so it looked good. I'm excited to see it. Some capacity. I feel like the overall plot is kind of like been done before. Not so much for the story elements, like the pill and stuff. It has its own kind of unique circumstances and world built around it, but the whole, like, Jamie Foxx and his daughter was kidnapped, and his daughter was the one who created the pill. Essentially, it's like, oh, well, that shit's done a million times, but like, the madness that ensues with all the superpowered people obviously is what's going to be selling the movie. So
I want to know what's in these damn pills.
Yeah, where do we get some of these? That's what I want to know. When did they go on the market? Elon Musk behind this shit?
Yeah.
Like, oh God, like, that actually is something. Well, the only other thing I'd probably noticed in the trailer that I mean, granted, it was just a trailer, so I'm not gonna, it's just nitpicking, but the villain seemed kind of like, not that we know exactly who the villain was, but all the guys who looked like bad guys looked very like, I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like very stereotypical. They're just bad guys to be bad guys.
Yeah.
It seemed like
there's no
that kind of movie.
Or anything.
Yeah, just, I don't know. So I'm not looking forward to what I hope that's just not the case. I hope there's a little bit more depth to it than
You
that.
think it wouldn't be the case, so
It's more than likely going to be the case. That's exactly what
like
it
a
was.
bad guy.
I mean, literally, the monologue that one of the bad guys were given was just like, "We're gonna do it because we're the bad guys." That's what I got from whatever the hell he was saying. Like, but anyway, then the other guy gets out of the truck at one point, just gives him like someone a look, like, and I don't know. It was just one of those things from just like, oh, this is the kind of tension we're gonna have. Just punching bag people essentially. But oh, I thought it looked good though. I thought it looked. I'm interested to see it, and you know what? The best part is I don't have to pay anything to see it, so because it's on Netflix.
Very true.
So I will check it out while it's on Netflix.
I'll give it.
You know what I mean? I will definitely watch, especially now since like it's this. I don't know when the release date is for this. Where does it say?
That's what I was just
streaming service. August 14th.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's
coming up.
That's another thing that's crazy because like I had no idea this movie even existed, and then it's going to be out in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So I mean, I'm excited for that. I mean, because just to go back to again how like Netflix has been kind of like maybe not killing it lately, but they've been definitely making an effort lately to like really make their original series content and original movies and everything be of a much better quality, and they've just been like pumping out a lot more because they just had the Charlize Theron's The Old Guard movie just dropped on there, which wasn't complete dog shit. Like it was actually like okay, like it was a pretty good movie.
See that, but
it kind of like this, like I'd say it's worth giving a watch. It looks pretty good.
Like Charlize.
Like, it was pretty good. Yeah, Charlize Theron's great. Like I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good movie, all things considered. And it had some what's his name? Chiwetel Ejiofor was in there. Dude did Scar and the bad guy in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Well, spoiler alert, because he wasn't the bad guy until like the end credit scene. But sorry,
you just ruined it. No, I'm just
I just ruined a 3-4-year-old movie. I'm sorry, guys. If you haven't seen Doctor Strange and you're watching the show, I don't really understand what you're doing.
I would recommend to anybody watching this though too, like if you haven't watched the trailer, check it out because it's
definitely
it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, it's again, the production value looks great. Like I think a lot of the effects they did look good. Like the fire dude looked good, the invisible dude looked good.
Yeah, I thought the invisible thing was cool.
A lot of the CGI stuff, like for one, it looks good, but it kind of does have that feel of like a. It might have just been because a lot of the scenes were at night, but it had like a darker.
It seemed very dark,
darker feel to it, but like a more grounded kind of thing. I mean, they even make the joke to like the kid says to him, Jamie Foxx, like, "Thought we were gonna be like Batman and Robin," and
it's like, "That's a movie."
Fox, like, yeah, that's a movie. This is real life. Like another thing that's been done a million times, but I don't know. They did try. It seems like they tried to ground it into a much more realistic kind of world, to where it's like this world, if this pill existed, as opposed to it being some weird like there's dudes with capes. It's not that kind of world. So I mean, from that aspect of it, it's
like a grittier kind of.
And I actually like that kind of stuff. I like having some verisimilitude, as we'll call it. Just like believing. You want to believe it, right? When things are a little bit too over the top, like no offense to anything, like if you like it, but like the old Christopher Reeve Superman movies, like they're a little over the top and they're not really believable. It seems like it's its own world, which
Superman's not very believable, but
I don't know. I felt like they did a good job making Man of Steel and making that feel like this is an alien who exists in our world today, and like this is the ramifications of what a being like that existing in a world similar to our world, this is what would happen.
It wasn't corny or anything.
Yeah, there wasn't, and that's the thing. Like, and it's like the Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. That world is not a real world in any way, shape, or form. When you watch those movies, you're watching pretty much a cartoon.
Yeah,
and that's the kind you don't get that vibe from this. Because I feel like that's one thing the MCU does really good is like they really know how to walk the line to where like they have some really like goofy ass wild stuff, but it all still feels it's believable.
Yeah, and I think that's what's good about Marvel movies.
Like, yeah. So I mean, I'm hoping for the best for this. I hope it's good. Like I hope it's good.
Yeah.
But again, you're not out anything other than a Netflix subscription and 2 hours of your time,
which you probably already have.
Exactly. So that's kind of always another thing too. It's good to have a new movie come out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can actually go and watch
Something to watch.
Something to watch of like what looks like it could be,
Quality.
a good time, good quality. Why the hell not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll spend my time watching it. So, but what do you guys think? Did you have a chance to watch the Project Power trailer? Do you have any of the, similar concerns that kind of I have, and the fact that it feels like the concept itself can really lend itself to being cool, but at the same time, there could be a lot of plot holy kind of elements to it. Or otherwise, you just think it looks like a good time. So, I don't know. Just let us know down in the comment section below. All right, so our next main topic today is going to be about Tom Cruise and Doug Liman have seemingly, perhaps, found a either distributor or a film studio in general who is willing to make a movie with him in outer space. And this is not just a outer space movie. Tom Cruise literally wants to partner with SpaceX and old Elon Musk and actually go to space and film a movie. That's pretty much all the news we have on it, but it looks like Universal Studios is actually in early discussions to help produce and get this movie made with Tom Cruise. And I know, Rick, when I brought this article up to you, you had not known about Tom Cruise's plans to do this in general, right? So I think that's really what we. I mean,
it's very Tom Cruise.
It is. I mean, he literally, for the new Top Gun movie, he went out and learned how to fly. The production on Top Gun Maverick literally had to be delayed because he wanted to fly the fighter jet himself. So he had to go and get the training necessary to be able to fly an actual fighter jet.
Yeah.
For the movie.
That's fucking crazy.
No, it's fucking insane, dude. Like, he's crazy, man. I mean, I would love to do all the stuff that he does, but in the end, what's enough? What's too much? What?
That's a lot to put at risk for a movie.
It is, because that's the thing too. You gotta keep this in mind too. A lot of people don't think about this. Like, it's cool that Tom Cruise does his own stunts, and you can get a lot of like good shots. Like, it's always good when you have an actor with enough like physical talent to be in frame as much as possible, right? Like having Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill in Mission Impossible Fallout or whatever, like doing that bathroom scene with that I forget his name, the guy they were fighting in the bathroom, I forget. But having all of them actually in frame because they're doing all the stunts, like that's what you want. Because the problem you have when you have actors who like aren't able or willing to do like more stunts like that, or even just choreography, like the fight scenes and everything. That's when you end up with your choppy, quick cut, fight scene footage. Like, just to use an example, Matt Damon, I know, did a lot of the stunts in the Bourne series, but that's where that quick cut, shaky cam bullshit came from.
Kind of covers up a lot of the
and that's what you do when you need to hide stuff. In like dark scenes, for instance, too. It's another thing. Like, if you don't have the budget for good CGI effects, or you want to hide some choreography or everything, you shoot it at night. I mean, it just lets you get away with a little bit more than the bathroom scene in Mission Impossible Fallout, for instance. It was brightly lit with white background, like, because all the actors were there doing all the hits themselves. So you get a lot of good content out of that stuff. So I commend any filmmaker or artist who is capable and willing to do that kind of stuff, because as a viewer, it doesn't take me out of the movie. Because that's the one thing like, when you know that the stunt double's there, it takes you out of the movie ever so slightly. But when all of a sudden the camera cuts to a behind shot and you can tell it's not Tom Cruise there, it's gonna take you out of the movie for a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just kind of nitpicky shit.
No, but I get it.
But you know what I mean? But yeah, like what with this though, I have no idea what this movie's gonna be. But I can't say I'm not extremely curious as to like what the hell it's gonna be. Like, Tom Cruise is gonna go to space. Is it just gonna be him with like a GoPro or something though?
That's what I'm saying.
That's like, who's gonna go with him in space?
Is there gonna be a film crew that goes with him? Like,
yeah, and it's like, is like Doug Liman gonna go to space too? Like, Dude,
That's a lot to do for a movie.
it is, because
But it's revolutionary at the same time.
he'll forever always be able to say that he was the first dude to have like he made the first movie in
Astronaut
space.
/ actor, yeah.
Well, just he made the first movie in space. I mean, this is what it is.
Well, it's the beginning probably of a whole new era of, movies, if you can actually do it in space. Maybe.
It just depends on like what the overall cost is of this stuff, because that's the other thing.
How much does it cost to even send somebody up to the space station? Just like a one-way flight up there. How many billions of dollars?
It's super expensive. Because that's why what Elon wants to do now with SpaceX and everything is now essentially that they did the launch up to the space station. He wants to build a base on the moon so they can essentially take all the parts to the moon and then launch rockets from there
to Mars
or wherever. Because
I just got to say too, real quick, that SpaceX capsule was cool. Fuck.
Oh, it was dope.
Yeah,
it was awesome. The launch was awesome.
Oh yeah,
but that's the thing. Leaving Earth's atmosphere, just the amount of just the fuel alone is extremely expensive. Yeah. That's the thing. You don't have to worry about the atmosphere if you launch from the moon.
Yeah, so it just basically shoot yourself.
You just away you go. So you
could catapult.
Yeah, you just save a metric fuck ton of money if you just have a base on Mars that you can take parts to, build everything there, or at least assemble some of it there, so you can launch from there. I mean, that's the dream. Like that's step one of the dream. We'll say. Like there's obviously far more to the dream, but being able to do that is the next step. But that's the thing though. Like, what are they gonna? How much could you realistically do? Like, what is the benefit?
It's gonna be like a scene.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what is the benefit, the true benefit of actually being in space with it?
Think about this too. How many space movies are out there right now where they're obviously not really in space, where it really looks like they're in fucking space? No, exactly. I mean, it's not hard to do.
They do a really good job with a lot of.
Yeah,
like, I mean, a lot of, even the older ones. Yeah, even the older ones. They made it look really good. That's kind of my point with it. Is like, that's the thing from a studio standpoint. Like Tom Cruise likes to do his own stunts and everything, like I was saying. And it's always great when you can do that. But the studio, the people paying $200 million to make this, movie with, whatever, they don't want Tom Cruise doing the stunt, because if something happens to Tom Cruise, now they don't have a movie. And now they're out $200 million. Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, I'm just using Tom Cruise as an example. Yeah. Like, that's why studios don't like, and more often than not, have stuntmen do stunts like that. Because if something happens to your lead actor, like if your lead actor just has to do a jump, over a building or something, they could easily do it, we'll say. But is having to shut down production for, I don't know, up to 3 months if they break their ankle on that jump worth it?
Which actually happened to Tom Cruise.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, no, because it's not, financially speaking, it's not worth it. It's like, yeah, it's great that they want to do it and they fully support the fact that Tom Cruise can do it, but for any actor, but like making movies are expensive, and when you're filming on location, for instance, the studios are paying hundreds of millions of dollars for a whole crew and staff to be, on location here. If Daniel Craig breaks his ankle, which I think he recently did get injured when they were trying to film No Time to Die, they have to shut production down altogether because they can't shoot the fucking James Bond movie without James Bond.
Well, my thing too, I was thinking about is how many stories have you heard about, and it's not a lot, but still it does happen, where the stunt person actually died doing a stunt in the movie, like in Deadpool.
Right, it happens.
And like if you had an actual actor doing that work, like
well, it's like it was a freak thing, but what's his name on The Crow?
Oh,
Bruce Lee's kid,
Brandon Lee.
Yeah, I mean, it's a freak thing, but like shit happens. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, like, what is the necessity of actually going to space? Because if it is just one scene, then it's like he already did in The Mummy. There's a scene where they do the 0G thing in an airplane where it goes straight down. They did that for real. Like he was there and did that. Like everything else that was like in there was all like put in there, but he did it. So it's like,
to me, it's more or less at this point, it's just like, we're doing it because we can, like, because it's a cool concept, because realistically, there's no need to actually go to space to film a space scene. Like,
I mean, think it's the only reason it's happening is because Tom Cruise wants to do it.
Exactly. That's what
I
I'm
mean, that's
saying.
it.
Like Tom Cruise is like, I want to go to space.
But I mean, that's why, like, and the article even says, like, um, they may have finally found someone to do it with them, like Tom Cruise and Doug Liman. The reason it's kind of hard to find like a company wanting to do that is because it's uncharted territory and like they don't know what's going to happen. Like, do you want to be the studio behind? Okay, so let's say Universal pays 200 million. Who knows how expensive this is really going to be? That's the thing. Like, because if just a bunch of CGI and the Avengers movie costs $200 million, and you market it for another, we'll say $200 million because the Avengers, they spend a lot of marketing on that shit. So if they're going to spend $400 million on a movie, how much is this movie going to cost just to get them to outer space?
Dude,
Let
I can
alone,
guarantee you it's close to $1 billion.
that's what I'm saying. Like, let alone the other just general production stuff, like not in space. Like, I feel like this is going to be incredibly expensive, and like that's why no one would want to do it.
yeah.
Not because it's not a cool idea, not because they don't think Tom Cruise like couldn't handle being in space, or like
He could handle it.
no, yeah. I'm sure he could do it if he can fly a fighter jet.
That's still crazy to me.
Now, I mean, most astronauts started out as fighter pilots.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. So I feel like he could definitely do. I mean, he did the Halo jump in Mission Impossible Fallout 2. Like he did all the helicopters.
It's like they
He
always
was
just have
flying the
some crazy
helicopters.
stunt like for Tom Cruise to do
Well, it's just because he can do all the stuff.
because he wants to do it.
Yeah. Plus, which I respect. It's just I can totally understand why it would be hard for any studio to want to get behind it and pay. Like I said, I don't know how much it's going to cost, but they're going to have to pay all that money. And then what if, God forbid, Tom Cruise dies? Then what do you have? Because now you don't have a movie, but you've already paid all the money to get the space stuff to happen. Like, what are you going to do at that point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, man. I'm definitely going to watch this fucking movie. No
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm behind it. Like,
but I just don't know. Like, I'm totally on the side of the studios where it's like, do we really want to do this? Like, just because Tom Cruise wants to? Like,
maybe he could fund it out of his own pocket. Like,
he probably can to
I'm sure
some
he could.
capacity. I mean, I'm sure he could get approved for the loan to do so. I mean, his movies make enough money for.
Oh yeah.
Like, so I don't know. I want to see it. I don't know. Like I said, is it really worth all the hassle if it's just going to be a couple scenes that you could just do with however they do it any other time? So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Save everybody a lot of money and hopefully no one's going to die. All right. But what do you guys think? Do you think that, do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this movie's actually going to happen? Because I mean, it looks like it's a lot closer to being a real thing than it was, I don't know, about 6 months ago when this first came up. So let us know down in the comment section below what you all think. All right, guys. So our next topic today is going to be about the Bill and Ted 3 movie. Has now decided, the studio behind it has decided to release it straight to VOD as opposed to waiting out the pandemic and putting it into theaters in any capacity. So off the top, that's a good idea, I think, for this movie. Because I don't think Bill and Ted was ever going to be something that
It's not going to be like a blockbuster.
Yeah, like they're not. I don't know what the exact budget was on this movie by any means, but like they didn't spend hundreds of millions of dollars on this, so I feel like this is perfectly fine for them to actually like ship this thing straight to VOD. It's better just to get it out of the way because you got to think too. A lot of these things. That's another thing that like we kind of didn't even talk about before. And a lot of people aren't mentioning a lot. Like some people mention, but regardless, what happens? Like we missed out on this whole year of movies, right? These movies still need to come out, and if they're going to be like 2021 is just going to be loaded. Like there's going to be
assuming that.
Assuming it's open 2021.
Yeah, I mean it could.
Yeah,
who knows?
I mean, that's
some negative thinking.
I mean, we'll never know about that kind of stuff. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. But I mean, that's just kind of like something like this kind of gets, I don't know, just feel like not talked about as much. It's like, okay, we're going to keep pushing them back. That's fine. And then like everyone focuses in on like not having the movies now. But like, as you keep pushing them back and back and back, like what happens to everything that they had already planned to put out next year? You know, it's like, I don't know. We're just gonna have so many movies. I feel like like the studios, like obviously for like these bigger movies like Black Widow and these things that they need to put them in theaters and Tenet and like whatever makes sense. They need the money back. I feel like they are like in Bill and Ted's case, like making the right decision. And there are definitely movies that are best just in this situation. Just put it on VOD because I mean I don't know, like you don't want to. You're just cramming things up too much, like it's not going to make I doubt this movie if it were to release in theaters, even with the added benefit of like we were saying that New Mutants is going to be the only game in town if it comes out on August 28th. So that's going to help it. At the same time, who knows who's all going to be willing to want to go out to the theater in the current climate we're in anyway. Regardless of that fact, let's say they can sell out as much as they can. It'll benefit them being the only game in town, but at the same time, I don't know of anybody who is gonna be rushing out to see Bill and Ted 3, even if there wasn't a pandemic.
Yeah.
Not to say there wasn't like anything wrong with this movie. I want to see it, but
I think it'll be good.
I think in the trailer, we just watched the trailer for the new trailer they released, and it was better than the first trailer.
Oh
like,
yeah, it looked a lot
good.
more high quality, higher production value.
It gave you just a lot more of a taste of the movie. You got some they had some good jokes in there for you. Like I liked the couples counseling bit.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good little bit.
When their daughters were in hell and
and like that was a good bit too at the end. Just like, yeah, but how you doing? Like,
cool.
I thought that was like actually funny.
Yeah.
Like that actually made me laugh. So like I love Keanu Reeves.
And
like don't get me wrong.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, he's just doing the meme, but he's supposed to do the meme because that's where the meme came from. So I mean, it's just not this in particular, for me anyways, just speaking for myself, this isn't a movie that I typically rush out to see in the theaters as it is. So I feel like a lot of the general going on, this isn't a movie that's made for the general audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this movie wasn't going to make $3 billion. It's not, you're not going to get end game numbers with this, whether there's a pandemic or not. Not to say there's anything wrong with it, or maybe it's perfectly deserving to be. It could be the best movie that comes out this year because it might be one of the only movies that come out this year.
Very true.
But I don't know. I'm actually more excited to see it now after the trailer that just dropped, the second trailer, and for the fact that it is coming out on streaming because then I can just watch it sooner. In all reality, like I just feel like I could. Like so, it's supposed to be coming in. It's going to VOD and in cinemas on September 1st, assuming cinemas are available. That's kind of the only like caveat with that. So that's kind of what I'm getting at with like this is it being on VOD. This allows me to be able to see it sooner because, again, even with like New Mutants coming out August 28th, as much as I'd love to go see it, I don't know how practical that's really going to be.
Yeah,
it's like
a little risky.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like the risk reward, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as if it hits on August 28th and it doesn't make a ton of money, then chances are it's probably gonna be going to Disney Plus really soon after that.
Yeah.
Like if they're not making money in the theaters and because they're not getting enough people out to the theaters, they'll just take it out of the theaters. This is what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but did you like the trailer though for this one?
I did.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's not anything I would consider that's going to be like a huge blockbuster per se, but I was like, wow. I like Bill and Ted to begin with, Keanu Reeves, but it definitely kind of lit the fire under me, stoked my fire. So I think it'll be good.
Yeah. No, again, I thought the trailer for it was. My excitement level was very tempered after the first trailer.
Yeah.
Like it was just kind of, I guess, like what I expected more so than anything. Nothing really blew me away. But this new trailer, like it actually it made me more excited to see it. So, like I said, I'm kind of more excited the fact that it is coming to streaming because then I know for sure in this current climate with the pandemic and whatnot, it coming to streaming on VOD to some capacity, I know I'll be able to watch it at that point, like sooner,
Yeah.
Because like this movie, you could say this movie and Tenet and everything's coming out tomorrow. I'm not going to the theater tomorrow.
No.
Like, you know what I mean? So that's
barely want to go out right now.
that's what I'm saying. Like that's kind of the biggest caveat and hurdle I feel like any of these movies really have is even if they do get their release date in theaters, depending on what state you're in and the current climate of like how everything's doing, is anybody even going to go see it? That's kind of job number one. That's where honestly, it'd probably be better for movies like this. Just how it'd be better for movies like this to go on VOD because they're not expected to make as much money. In our current situation, it arguably would be better for studios to put these ones in theaters first, just to see if people are even going to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you're Marvel and Disney and you put Black Widow out right now, how many people are going to go? You know what I mean? Because like I said, I'm not going to the movie theater tomorrow, and it's as much as I do want to see New Mutants now after some latest trailer and everything. I don't know if I'm going to the movies next month.
Yeah.
Like, that still seems, just based on how everything's going, that seems too soon to me.
Going out to even, like, pick up food is risky at this point.
I know, going everywhere is risky. Like,
groceries
and there's plenty of things that, like, could make it, like, safer. That's one thing, too. Like, I watched the Reds game last night, right?
Yeah.
And they're doing, there's no audience, right? And it was funny, one of the reasons I wanted to watch it was because they were talking a while back, like a month or so ago, before they were going to, baseball was going to start. Yeah. They were talking about CGIing in a crowd or putting cardboard cutouts in the crowd.
Dude, they said you could buy a cardboard cutout.
Yeah, and put it there. Yeah. I saw it online.
And the Reds won.
Yeah, dude, they fucking destroyed the Tigers. Like, it was
brutal.
It made me feel like I was watching a completely different team.
Yeah.
Like, a completely different team. Because, yeah, they annihilated. Nothing like that. I saw a clip, dude, I don't know what year this was, because I was just watching like random baseball highlights the other day, where there was a national, I think it was the Nationals. I looked down and at the score from this clip, and it was like 25 to like 1. I was just like,
that's a big difference in baseball too.
Yeah, that's a double digits is not common in baseball.
No.
Like, so I was just like, it's kind of the same thing with hockey.
Embarrassing. I just walk off the field at that point.
I know, like that's what I was saying, like because that's what they were saying. Like one of the pitchers, like this clip was like pitchers getting mad or something. I forget what the fuck it was, but this pitcher kept getting, he was annoyed because the pitcher was on the team with 25 points, right?
Yeah,
and then the batter kept calling time and stepping out of the box, and he's just like,
you're gonna lose.
Yeah, he literally keeps saying, because like he's like in his windup, puts the ball here and is about to pitch, and the dude calls time and steps out of the box, and like the ump lets it happen.
Yeah,
and so the pitcher's just like
just let me slaughter.
He's just like literally like mouthing exactly what I'm saying to this guy. But it's because 25 to 1, dude, cool wasting my fucking time.
Exactly.
Like, get in there, get it done. Kind of like what the theaters should do with these movies. Just get them in there, get it done, analogy. See what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good analogy.
Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, so anyways, guys, what do you think? Do you think it's a good idea that Bill and Ted, kind of like me, that it's kind of a blessing and a curse, right? Because, on the one hand, the studios would probably be more behooved, in my opinion, to put these kind of lower grossing movies in theaters first, just to kind of temper the waters and see if people are even interested in coming back to the theaters yet. But at the same time, these smaller movies are a lot less risk for them to just put them straight to VOD and just kind of cut their losses. So whatever it is, just let us know down in the comments section below. All right, so our final main topic here today, guys, is going to be about Disney's new release plans for both Avatar and Star Wars, and James Cameron being disappointed about the Avatar delays, but is promising that these sequels will deliver. So, Rick, my question to you is, one, before we get into the release schedule aspect of how they're kind of both delaying the release, it's kind of a two-part thing. Disney is going to be, we had kind of had word of this sometime last year. I remember when the Fox deal took place, that they were wanting to stagger out the releases of Star Wars and Avatar. So there'd be a Star Wars movie one year, then Avatar and Star Wars and Avatar and Star Wars, whatever. But now, because of the pandemic and everything, they're still doing that to some capacity, but they're also pushing these things back. And at this point in time, I believe, let me pull up here. So they're saying that Avatar is now going to be pushed back until 2022. Avatar 2 is coming out in 2022 now. So then the new untitled Star Wars trilogy is going to be coming out in 2023. So there's two things that kind of, well, actually, there's a lot to unbag with that. But that means, one, we're not getting a Star Wars movie for another 3 years, which I don't know about how surprising that is. I mean, we don't know. This is some untitled Star Wars trilogy. We have no idea what it's going to be about. All we know is that Taika Waititi is somehow involved. And that's what this article even says, something like there's reportedly under Taika Waititi's guidance. So we have no idea what capacity. We don't even know what that means. It could be Steven Spielberg in his guidance on the Transformers movies, which was 0.
Yeah.
You know, he was the producer on every single one of them. Go watch, and he had nothing to fucking do with those movies. Like he had dinner with Michael Bay at one point, and
they discussed it.
They put his name on it, so everybody wins. You can say Steven Spielberg was the producer on your movie, which is huge, and Steven Spielberg gets money from this movie that made a shit ton of money that he had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
So it's just a win-win. But it could also be, you know, he's the complete driving force, Taika Waititi, behind these things, which would be really the only thing I'd be interested in at this point. I don't want Taika Waititi just like not doing something.
No,
yeah. He's great. So,
oh yeah.
So we're getting Star Wars, some unknown Star Wars project and trilogy of sorts in 2023. So in 3 years now, but to be fair, we're also getting Mandalorian season 2. That's coming up soon. We're getting the what's his name? We're getting Obi-Wan, and then supposedly nothing's really happened with the Obi-Wan thing. Yeah. And then the dude from Rogue One, what's his name?
Cassian
Andor show. Yes. Yeah. So we're getting 3 Star Wars projects for Disney Plus in between this 3-year period at some point, presumably. Mandalorian 2 is in the can. That's done. So we are getting that soon, but the other shows haven't even been, filmed or anything yet. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see with that. But the other thing is with this delay is now Avatar 2 is also like done. And I don't know why you would push it back to 2022. I mean, it's got to be close enough to get it done before 2 years from now. Because we're looking at like 12 years since Avatar came out in 2010, I think.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 12 years since Avatar 1. And I don't know about you, dude. But I don't give a shit about Avatar.
Yeah.
Literally. I liked it enough when it came out. But kind of just like with everything, it just completely fell off of the pop culture zeitgeist. The movie came out, made $2.5 billion. Everybody loved the movie. The next year, everyone was dressing up as the Na'vi, and then the next year, no one cared.
Oh yeah.
So
I never cared.
After year 3 of Avatar being a thing, like you weren't seeing Na'vis at Comic-Con anymore. You weren't seeing Na'vis on Halloween. Like, just it completely died in pop culture. Like, it has not been relevant for, almost 10 years now.
Yeah,
and especially by the time this comes out, it will have been like 12 years since the first one. And like, I'm not just trying to dog on Avatar. I mean, if you love the movie, it's fantastic. You can love it. It's a good movie. There's nothing wrong with the movie by any means. I'm not shitting on Avatar. I just don't care about it. You know, there's a difference.
Same.
So I mean, I don't think anybody ever should. Sorry, there was a little gnat there. I don't ever doubt James Cameron. He's made some of the best movies ever.
Oh yeah.
True Lies, Terminator 2, Aliens. Terminator 2. Come on, dude. Like, you don't.
Titanic.
Yeah, Titanic, dude. Like, I'm never. You're an idiot if you're going to bet against James Cameron. So I know. I'm not gonna say I know. You never know. He can make a bad movie. He is human. But I'm sure Avatar 2 is probably going to be a good movie.
No, yeah.
I'm confident enough to say that
they've had enough time to.
Yeah, I mean, with all the time they've had him to produce the movie and film the movie and all that stuff, yeah, I would certainly hope it's good. But I mean, even if they were to just, if Avatar 2 would have came out 2 years after Avatar 1, I would assume it's going to be good. I just feel like at this point, it's just too long, man. Like, they need to get this movie like out. They need to do something. Like, because
People are gonna lose interest.
people have already lost interest.
Yeah,
No,
that's what we were talking about.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, no one cares about Avatar.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not, again, it's not because like they hated it. The
No.
movie made $2.5 billion. Everybody loved it, but everybody knows. Here, how about this? What's the main character's name in Avatar? I don't have a fucking clue either, dude.
Jeff.
I had to look at the article. To even know that they were called Na'vis. Like, I completely
thought I knew
I
that.
brain farted it, and I had to look down. You can go back and rewind the tape. You'll see my eyes pan down when I go to say, and I saw it right here. That's how I knew what to say.
What's the guy's name? Like Jeff, Steve,
I have no
Bob?
idea. Like, I don't know, and I don't care. Like, it's just not something I care about. The only thing that I like about the movie was everything looked cool, and I like Sigourney Weaver because I like Alien.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's
True.
pretty much it. And then the dude, and I also like the girl who plays Gamora, who's the girl Navi one.
Yeah.
Blanking on her name now.
Rosario Dawson?
No,
No.
no,
That's not.
that's not Rosario Dawson's playing Ahsoka Tano though in the Mandalorian.
I know who you're talking
You're
about.
gonna make me. Hold on. Talk while I look. What do you think about it? What are your thoughts on Avatar and Avatar 2?
I don't care. I don't care at all. I mean, I think one of the biggest things for Avatar when it came out was just the whole like visuals, the animation, all that sort of stuff. But you know, when it comes down to it, it's just like, what hype is there at this point? What's really gonna draw you in? I mean,
That's the thing too.
it's not a new experience.
Well, like James Cameron is like a visionary pioneer as far as the like special effects world goes.
Yeah.
So I know what he really wants to do, like kind of like how Elon really wants to go to Mars and he wants to build a space station on the moon to like do that. One thing that James Cameron really wanted as far as a theater going experience was glassless 3D. So kind of like a Nintendo Switch screen, or not Switch, but a Nintendo 3DS, how you didn't have to have glasses for 3D, but high def. Like they want lossless, glassless 3D is what he wants. So I mean, if James Cameron is able to pull that off, then yeah, this is gonna be fucking huge.
Yeah, that'll be like revolutionary.
But again, that's not because of Avatar. It's because of the technology that went along with it, which is exactly what Avatar 1 was.
Just a vessel for the technology.
Yeah, the CGI and the 3D that he was able to, because that's the thing, the 3D isn't what really made that movie good. It was the way he utilized 3D. He filmed the movie and created the effects within the movie and the environment to make it 3D.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that like most people, like most 3D movies and everything, they're just ports to 3D, so they just have the thing. Best case scenario, which is also a worst case scenario, like a kid's movie is made in 3D, and the only like effect they have made for 3D is the something comes towards your face.
Yeah, like a ball gets thrown.
Yeah, and like that's not what that's James Cameron did not do that with Avatar. He made it to where when you're watching it and a character's walking through the forest, it felt like you were in there. Like
like you're in the actual forest.
Like that's so that if you could do that in without glasses, because with the glasses, the biggest problem with them is that, you know, here's this beautiful, whatever inch IMAX screen, crystal clear HD laser projection, but here's a piece of film. Put it over your eyes and go watch this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You lose quality. It's like annoying. And like, especially like people who wear glasses, it's fucking inconvenient.
It is. It's very inconvenient. I never really to me, I just never really got into the novelty of 3D movies. Like, yeah, it's cool, but like
I don't mind it. Like, I don't hate 3D, but I'm not buying a ticket for it. If I have the option to go watch it in 2D, I'm gonna watch it in 2D.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I don't mind, like, again, if you make the movie and design a nice 3D experience, then that's fine. Like, I'll perhaps give it a go. Like
perhaps,
like with Avatar, for instance, everyone said you got to go watch it in 3D. This movie was made for 3D. You got to go. So I went and watched it in 3D. It was fine. But I also watched it in 2D, and it was just as fine.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it was cool, but thankfully it wouldn't be cool if like all it was here's a ball coming at your face. 3D, man. Like that's not the same thing. It was Zoe Saldana, by the way. Zoe Saldana, who in the 2 highest grossing films in the world. She's in Avatar and she's in Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
2 most highest grossing movies.
Good for her.
But so yeah, I don't care about Avatar, and I just feel like they need to pump that thing out. Like I don't think delaying it is really, not that it's a bad idea, but like I don't know. At this point, the longer you push this thing back, the more and more pressure I feel like is put on that movie to deliver on a lot of fronts.
Yeah.
Because while I'll watch it because I have faith in James Cameron and he's never made a bad movie, as far as I'm aware. Like, I'll go watch it. But this is 12 years in waiting now. Like, you know, I mean, this is like, you're approaching some prequel level shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're gonna potentially let down more people than you please.
Yeah.
You know, because realistically, since there is no, I don't know, hype for it or real want for it, like across, you know, like the Star Wars coming back, it was a huge fucking deal. Everybody still likes Star Wars. Everybody still talked about Star Wars after the original trilogy. It was a thing embedded and ingrained in the DNA of everybody. Everybody knows something about Star Wars, even if you haven't seen the goddamn movie. Like, you don't know that with Avatar. It did not have that kind of effect on humanity, really. You know, in pop culture, it did not have that kind of effect. So, like, which is kind of, I guess, a blessing for them in some capacity, because it's only going to disappoint James Cameron if they release Avatar 2 and it, like, bombs, like, financially bombs. Like, if it's a well-reviewed, he'll probably, like, be fine with that.
Yeah.
Like, again, it'll probably be a good movie. I don't know if anyone's going to really rush out and see it, because I don't know anybody who, I don't know anybody who talks about Avatar anymore, unless it's like how I'm talking right now.
Yeah.
About this movie.
Bringing it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know anybody. Like, no kids like it. Like, my kids don't even know what the hell it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they have no idea. Like, when they think of Avatar, they think of the anime Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, exactly.
That has had a more cultural impact than this movie that made $2.5 billion. Like, think about that.
It's got a huge following.
Yeah.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That's what I'm saying. Like, more people care about that than they do this.
Yeah.
You know, and it did not make $2.5 billion, and you're not waiting 12 years for the sequel to come out and blah, 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 blah. Like, so I don't know. I'll be there to see it, but I'm just, I'm a bit hesitant on whether or not it's going to be, whether or not old James Cameron word here are really ringing true that he says it will deliver. Okay. I'll believe it when I see it, just because, like, again, I might be a little bit biased because I don't really care for it.
That's kind of a biased opinion.
It is kind of a biased opinion. Of course he fucking loves it.
Yeah, it's like saying, like, my kid's the best, you know? Yeah. Of course you think that. Like,
yeah. And I hope it does deliver. I want to be blown away. I wasn't blown away by the first one, so I'd love to be blown away. I haven't been blown away in a theater, honestly.
I don't know really what they could do to blow me away.
I'm telling you, it's only glassless 3D, and if it looked good, that'd be the only thing where I'm walking out of there like,
wow. The Avatar concept. It's just, wow, that 3D was...
No, exactly. That was kind of my point with that, too. Is like, even if you do the glassless 3D, if you could pull that shit off, like, it's the same concept with Avatar 1 that no one really would want to admit, is like, no one really cared about Avatar as much as they really cared about, like, the 3D that went with it, because he did a really good job with that. Because I swear to God, if you really think about it and talk to a lot of people who really liked it, they will bring up the 3D. I'm telling you, they'll bring up the 3D. I've never met anybody.
3D was amazing.
Yeah, of the people that I know who do like the movie and did like the movie back then, rather, they didn't just tell me to go watch it because it was a good movie. They told me to go watch it in 3D. Yeah. Like, that was what I was told. Like, you have to watch it in 3D, dude. Like, you got to go watch it in 3D. Like, no one cared about the fucking movie. They just cared about the 3D part. So, like, it's kind of a blessing and a curse, because, like, yes, you can't have the 3D without the movie. I get that, but more people were talking about the gimmick more so than like story. The story is just like Ferngully in space. You know what I mean?
It really is.
It's the same thing. Like the story is a very generic story. It's just the technology involved is what everybody talks about. You know?
Yeah.
Kind of like it's kind of like a similar concept with like this might be sacrilegious to say, but like with like Avengers Endgame, everybody like loves that movie. Not just because it's like a good movie, because it is a good movie, it's a great movie, but it's the culmination of 22 movies, and that's what really sells that movie.
Yeah.
If you like, if Avengers Endgame is the first MCU movie you watch, you're not gonna get as much out of that as someone who's watched 22 hours of content related to that movie.
Yeah, going
Like,
back to all the
yeah,
original,
you know, like
Iron Man and
exactly. So you get 10 years of buildup. You know, like literally, the MCU had been going on for 10 years, 22 movies, and boom, Endgame, the climax, boom. And, you know, that's it. Like, and like that's one of the reasons it surpassed Avatar and made $3 billion, much like Avatar made 2.5 billion or whatever because of the crazy 3D visuals and CG and stuff. It was the same kind of concept. You know, it's like a lot of times the gimmick is what sells it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just that feel like the MCU even has put a much bigger, you know, pop cultural footprint in our society at this point in time than Avatar did, and it's still ongoing. It's
yeah.
not even old, you know what I mean? Like everybody knows what the MCU is,
Oh, for sure.
and I know there are people out there who have no idea what Avatar is and just don't care, you know? But anyways, with the Avatar stuff, what do you think about the staggering of these release dates? Because like my thing is like, other than the fact that you know they just need to get this thing out, because if it's already done, I don't see why they're going to push it back like, you know, another 2 years. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And then 3 years for Star Wars. That doesn't bother me as much, just because we don't even know what this Star Wars thing is, and honestly,
Yeah, there's no hype yet.
yeah, and then quite frankly, after the last trilogy, like I don't really care. Like,
Yeah,
so
in a way.
I'm hoping this is like new. Like I don't want
Hopefully
episode.
they learn from their mistakes.
Yeah, I don't want episode 10. I want something new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Something new entirely.
If you're gonna do episode 10, I don't really want any of those characters back. You know what I mean? Like, sad to say. Like,
Bye, Ray.
I'm not trying to shit on anybody, and I just don't like the execution of all of them. Like,
Oh, for sure.
like there are a lot of things I liked in all of the movies, but there's a lot I didn't like in all of the movies. And
Yeah,
I feel
for
like
sure.
when you look at things, the way that trilogy panned out, in my opinion, the negatives outweigh the positives. So I just didn't care for it all. There's some things that are great. And a lot of things, if you look at them as standalone movies, I feel like it might be better. Not Rise of Skywalker, though. I don't really like that movie at all. But like,
Yeah.
if you look at The Last Jedi as a standalone movie, it's good.
Yeah.
If you look at Force Awakens as a standalone movie, it's good. I didn't like the problem was that what they did with the characters that really kind of fucks with Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. So
Yeah.
it makes it harder to say those are good, but there are really good things in those movies. It's just the culmination of them, I feel like, is what really ruined it for me. But
I would agree.
you know, but I don't know, man. I just still like. What do you think this is gonna be? What would you want? What would you want from this trilogy here?
Star Wars?
Yeah.
I don't know. Something new, something fresh, totally different story, a different look at the Star Wars universe than we've ever seen. You know, there's a lot of different stuff they could do. Just not recycling old material. That would be my biggest.
Well, the only caveat I would have with that, as far as recycling old material goes, is if it's Old Republic.
True.
I would like an Old Republic series.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And they don't have to like follow. As much as I would prefer, like in all honesty, I would just prefer them make an adaptation, so like they can do whatever they want, but make an adaptation of the first Knights of the Old Republic game.
Yeah,
I feel like would
like
be
the
great.
concept of the game and
like the same, like use those characters, but just tell the story.
Yeah,
tell that story, like with Darth Revan and Darth Malak. You know what I mean?
That'd be cool.
And then Revan be, you know, yeah. If you haven't played the game in forever, I mean, it's like 10, 20 years old at this point, but you know, the story of the game is amazing, and it could work really well as a movie. You know, like because you play as Revan and you uncover this, but you play as a character who doesn't know who the fuck they are until the very end of the movie or the game rather. It's very cinematic, so that's why I keep saying movie. But like that's a really good story because you're playing as like a character who all you know is that you're force sensitive to some degree, and you go and you do your little Star Wars adventure. And there's this bad guy, Darth Malak or whatever. But as you're uncovering the secrets, you find out like, oh, he had a little partner dude, Darth Revan, and like all this stuff. And then Revan disappeared, and then bada bing, bada boom. Oh, you find out you're Darth Revan. And
Yeah.
like that's you know what I mean, like the character you've been playing the whole time, and then you confront Darth Malak. Like that shit is good.
Yeah,
it's
that's
a good story.
That would be a good movie.
Yeah, like I just want them to make that, but like you don't have to tell it the exact same way, but just that concept, even though it's been done, doesn't mean it's not good.
No.
Like in all honesty, because I know a lot of people like. I mean, like video game adaptations are never good, but that's not really like that was more of a storytelling video game. Like I don't know, man. When you play that game, like it's just a great story.
Yeah,
It's really because you're not playing it for thrilling gameplay because it's really not. It's like action RPG with like turn-based combat elements to it. So like it's not like most video game like kind of. It would be fucking good. That's what I want. Darth Revan's my favorite character. I just need to do that. So I'm a little bit biased. But anything set in the Old Republic is really what I would prefer them to do. Not just for that stuff. Like even if they were to do as anything, just in the time period of the Old Republic would be what I would prefer. Just because it's farther enough back in time that it has like there would be no ramifications for anything that you do that would affect what's already come, which was because it's like 3,000 years before the events of the first movies, the original trilogy. So like you can do whatever you want. It's kind of like it's like that's why like prequels kind of suck in most cases because like you know what happens, like
exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like you're just
watching it unfold.
Yeah, which I don't mind in a lot of cases, but I totally get people's gripe of like not wanting to watch it. Because like with the Star Wars prequels, for instance, it wasn't the fact that they were prequel stories that made them like not as good as they could be. It was the execution of the movies, you know? Like there could easily be kind of like with Fantastic Beasts and like Harry Potter. Like it's not that it's a prequel. It's because it's not being executed very well that people aren't really liking it. You know, like and they are doing some things that are like kind of like contradict those movies, but the other movies.
Yeah.
But that stuff aside, that's kind of the problem you have though. Is like you worry about if you stick too close and you to tell a perfect story, then it's just going to be too predictable because you know what happens immediately afterward. Yeah. But if you change something, you contradict what's immediately after it. That's why I don't really like. They're working on that High Republic thing that, as for now, has only been in the books. It's just been like a book series and whatever, comic series coming and whatnot. But that's only set 300 years before the original trilogy, and that doesn't really excite me because it's not far enough removed, in my opinion. Like I feel like it's really on the line. Like yeah, you could do some stuff that I guess wouldn't have an effect on the original trilogy. But at the same time, Yoda in the prequels was like 900, right? So Yoda's alive during this High Republic time.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. Like the fact that I know there are people out there existing that like they're just there now, right? So it's like Yoda in his prime if he's like 600 years old. Like, you know what I mean? I just feel like that's too close. So I really don't want it to be High Republic. Yeah. In all honesty. Granted,
I don't.
That might change once we have some of the High Republic material out. And if it's like really fucking cool.
True.
But I don't know. I just don't want to. I'm completely cool with the release date, though. I think it is smart on Warner, or not, but Disney's end to. Well, that's another thing, too. Now I'm thinking about this. Do you think that's enough time in between the trilogy movies if it's just every other year? Or do you think
I think that's fine.
You think that's good?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, it gives people more material to look forward to and, not as long to wait, so.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's smart for them to lock down the Christmas release date time.
Yeah.
Because that's when they I mean, think about this. The original, not the original, their new trilogy, the sequel trilogy came out at Christmas, right? I think it was December 19th, right? For Force Awakens, if I'm not mistaken. Which was when this other one was supposed to come out. But anyway, it made like $2 billion. It was the highest grossing Star Wars movie ever made. And then they had Rogue One come out. It also made over $1 billion in December. Then Last Jedi came out and made over $1 billion in December. Then Solo came out, went back to May. Fucking thing bombed, dude.
Yeah, Solo was bad.
Bombed. No, Solo was a good movie, dude. You didn't like Solo?
I like parts of it.
Dude, here's the thing. Solo is a good movie. It's just a movie nobody wanted.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I like Solo. It's a good I think it is a good movie. I don't want it. I liked Donald Glover as Lando. He was great. I liked Aaron Oldenreich or whatever his name is, who played Han. Like I thought he was good. Like the story and everything was good. It was fine. Darth Maul at the end. Always give me more. Like that's fine. Like it's just no one wanted the movie.
Exactly.
Like, it would have been different if they didn't just have Harrison Ford as Han Solo in a movie a year ago or whatever, 2 years ago. That was the biggest problem. No one, why are you making a movie with Han Solo without Harrison Ford, even though we just had Harrison Ford as Han Solo like 2 years ago? That's the biggest problem.
For sure.
Like I think that's what just like destroyed that movie. Because like there's been like a huge resurgence that they might actually be making a new one. Like there's a chance. Alden Ehrenreich was in a interview that said like he said like I heard some there's nothing set in stone by any means, but like the way he actually described it was like interesting. Like because he said he has heard rumblings of something, but he has no idea.
Yeah.
As opposed, and then there's been like this huge. Remember not too long ago, I don't know if I told you about this or you saw it, but like make Solo 2 happen or something was trending on Twitter.
That's
like
weird.
And then another thing in here. You know what hot toys are really like hard to get?
The Solo ones?
The Solo ones are sold out. You can still go get a Kylo Ren hot toy.
Yeah.
You can go get a Darth Maul hot toy. You can go, not that that's like the thing, the end all be all by any means, but if people obviously like the characters enough to spend $200-$300 on a figure, you know what I mean? So I feel like this is my conspiracy theory, by the way, but I feel like what happened is like no one wanted to see that goddamn movie because it didn't have Harrison Ford in it, so no one went to go see it. And then it comes out on streaming and like, oh, it's on Disney Plus now and like whatever, and like it's been like a year or so, and they finally give the movie a shot, and they're like, well, fuck, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it wasn't that bad. That's my theory. And I don't think it's very far-fetched by any means.
No, I don't think it is either.
But yeah, I don't know though. I mean, I think that about covers everything on this story for me, Rick. You got anything else you want to add about the Star Wars stuff or the Avatar stuff? Or
I've got nothing to add personally.
You got nothing to add personally?
Nope.
All right, buddy. Well, where can everybody find you online?
At Sir Rick Metz, SIRRIKMETZ. Follow me on Instagram.
Okay, I'm glad you spelled it because I can't read.
Well, when you think of Rick, you think of RICK.
I know. So. I'm just giving you shit because it's on the screen. You know what I mean? We always say like, "Oh, it's right there on the screen."
Maybe,
right.
maybe they're blind.
I guess. Yeah, that could happen. I'll give you that one. You can also follow me at Sir Rob Bifo. Just stay tuned. We got some other stuff coming here on the channel soon. We got some. We got to do the We Want to Believe show at some point, dude.
Oh, for sure.
We got to do it. Like, that's the only tease I'm going to give to it, though. I'm not going to get into it. We just got to do that. We got another show that we want to get into playing soon. We also want to start doing more like a live streaming kind of stuff, too. So just let us know down in the comment section below what kind of stuff you want to see. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the video. It really helps us out. Also, don't forget, you can submit topics and questions for the show just by emailing us at honestanduneducated@gmail.com. That's honestanduneducated@gmail.com. With all that down and out of the way, that's all I got. All right.
See ya.
So everybody, take care.
See ya.